Thank you to the facilitator, program director. I think Comrade Frank Chikani assisted us by outlining that this is an ANC program. So we'll acknowledge comrades in that fashion and acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Minister and NEC member of the ANC, Comrade Papela, the regional chairperson of the ANC in Joburg, Comrade Pakstau, the deputy chair, Mam Koni Papela, and all other leaders that are here. I see there are also SACP leaders from the district and all other comrades that are here. I think for us as the youth of the ANC Youth League, we're highly inspired by these latest developments between the city of Joburg and the city of Ramallah. I think for us as young people, we often rely on resolutions of the ANC from the 91 Congress, 94 Congress, and it always reaffirms its support for Palestine and the struggle of the Palestinian people. But I think for the first time in our lifetime, we're actually seeing this support materializing at a practical level, and that is probably the most encouraging thing that could ever happen. We've been designated topics to speak to, so I would go straight to my topic. I think as the ANC Youth League, we appreciate the function of history in how it shapes our perspectives in everything. And there is one particularly contradictory piece of history that exists between our struggle for self-determination and the struggle of people of Palestine. And I think on the more uglier side, that history is a history of cooperation between the South African government, apartheid government, and the Israeli government. These two oppressive and evil states have or were cooperating with each other to a very high level, at a military level, at an intelligence level, at an economic level. So in essence, supporting each other to oppress both the people of Palestine and to oppress the people of South Africa during our struggle. And it would be wrong for us not to even capture that part of history. But there's also, coinciding with that, a history of shared struggle. And I think the speakers that have come before me have highlighted that important part. And some of the similarities, for example, that kind of explain the how extreme these struggles are, because the South African struggle for self-determination or against apartheid was a very long struggle. It took a very long time. Just like how the comrades of Palestine now are having to endure this struggle for such a long time. You know, Israel is a sub-colony of Europe in the form of Britain, and now it has manifested itself, given the current global politics, as a substructure of imperialism through the United States. You know, it performs a function to support imperialist activities of the United States. And at the very same time, our country, in the struggle of our country, we've had to endure what has been characterized in the movement as colonization of a special type. You know, a colony that controls your country, but for us, we've had to live with our colonizers and share a same space with them, making the complexities of the South African struggle against apartheid even deeper and much harder. And the same applies, not in the same terms, but similar with similar references to the struggle of the people of Palestine. And I think on that little part, I think it was important to me to share that perspective. It is against that backdrop that I'm sharing this perspective. The main point that I was tasked to speak about is the war, and some of the consequences that have come with the war. And I think there are three interrelated events that captured me the most. And I think the first was on the backdrop of the building of the wall, the 2001 conflict between Israel and Palestine. That for me kind of captured or intensified what was to follow with the building of the wall. So in 2002, the wall was built, and around about 2002. It's a wall that is 800 kilometers. So you can imagine probably from the West Rand all the way to Durban is a wall dividing not only Israel and Palestine, but Palestinians from Palestinians. You know, so that kind of captures the complexity of that. And in 2003, subsequent to the building of the wall, the United Nations resolved that the barrier built by Israel, apartheid Israel government, to separate Israel and Palestine and people of Palestine from Palestine was illegal and an act of apartheid, and falling in line with the 1973 resolution in the United Nations classifying what apartheid is. This fell into the same category. So what these people are doing in this wall, it's 800 kilometers of a wall. It's a military operation. You have military people manned up in 800 kilometers in shifts, whatever the case may be. They security installations, high-tech security installations, and this also feeds to our understanding and our logic on why we're saying Israel is a sub-colony of US imperialism, because it feeds into the logic of controlling people and controlling the world through the use of military use. And that is what is happening through the wall and in Palestine. And we perhaps, for our own benefit as young people in South Africa and young people of the ANC, in the form of the ANC Youth League, there's never been really much coverage on the wall. And part of the reasons for that is the claim from the Israeli government and Israeli lobbyists and Israeli people is that the wall is manned along the Green Line and etc. And the Green Line is the what would fit into the 1967 borders. But those borders are just about that Green Line is probably about 30 kilometers or so. This wall goes on for 800 kilometers, dividing people from people, Palestinian people from their own people. But for us, a question that triggers and something that we often ponder amongst ourselves is why would these people do this? And when we draw from our own understanding of our own struggle and what guides us and what informs us, informed by the National Democratic Revolution, I think we have a firm belief that part of the oppression of the people of Palestine, just like with our own struggle, borders along the lines of eliminating or not eliminating, suppressing people at an economic level, because segregation and oppression forms as a function to to segregate people at an economic level. And when you do that, you detach them from any form of human development and other forms of development that people need at a cultural level, on the basis of human rights and etc. So that is a basic understanding of our own outlook on the wall in relation to the broader struggle of the people of Palestine.